Welcome inventors! Welcome to my channel, and today I would like to talk to you about the K1, but not just the K1. I want to make a different video comparing K1 with the K1 Max. So I have to bought one K1 after having the K1 Max, especially because the MFS project, because I've built the MFS project and then people came on the videos about the MFS and asked to build or adapt the MFS project to the K1. So it's a smaller printer. So I've decided to buy one because it's a different project. It's not just a smaller printer. And this is the main goal of this video. I will put the K1 and K1 Max side by side and tell you what are the differences between these two Creality printers. Then you can decide which one you want to buy, or maybe buy both printers, I don't know. Let's see what you decide to the end of this video. And of course, I want to talk to you about the problems I found on the K1 printer. Yeah, I will let you watch this video and then make your own conclusions, okay? But before I give you my opinion, I would like to tell you all the factual differences about K1 and K1 Max and how these two awesome printers are. I'm giving you a spoiler. I will stop talking right now. So let's go to the video, okay? Stay tuned and let's invent. Okay, first of all, let's start with the basic features or basic characteristics of these two printers. First, speed. Both printers have up to 600 millimeters per second of speed. They have the same quality, kind of quality. I will talk about this a little bit more in a couple minutes. Third, same filament configuration. Basically, yes, the same filament configuration with a couple differences when you change the nozzle. Okay, this is the only observation about the filament configuration, because everything else, it's absolutely the same. You can set up and fine-tune your filament or the brand you prefer to the K1 and use that on K1 Max and vice versa without any kind of problem or any issue. So this is awesome between these two printers. They have the same extruder and the same extruder temperature that can go up to 300 degrees Celsius. They have the same bed temperature that can go up to 100 degrees Celsius. Even being different sizes, they have basically the same configuration and the same quality and time to warm up and things like that. So it changed the size, but the functionality, it's the same on both printers. They have the same construction, like they use aluminum profiles, they use the same electronic, the same motors, the same board. Basically, both printers use the same electronic, okay? The same components and the same construction structure. So that's all. This is everything I have to say about these two printers. What? No, just kidding. Stay there, and take this time to leave a thumbs up here and comment something, and don't forget to share this video. Please help me to make this channel grow and make possible to bring more inventions and more videos like this for you. So let's go to what is really important about the K1 versus K1 Max, okay? So let's start with what each one of these printers bring to you and the package. Perfect? Okay, so basically it comes with two printers inside the package, but you have a toolkit inside each one. The toolkit comes with basic tools like Allen keys, this one that I have no idea how to call in your country, but here in Brazil we used to call this smoking pipe key or smoking pipe wrench. tell me on the comments, help me to learn more about English names for tools, okay? Smoking pipe formats, so tell me how you call this tool. So you have open range key 10 millimeters and 12 millimeters. It's the same key you will receive on both printers. Screwdriver, a mini screwdriver, okay? Then now you have a grease tube. On both printers, you have the same size, and glue sticker, okay? So I didn't use that. I used to use this kind of glue on my old printer, and I prefer to use spray glues that help you have a better finishing on the first layer of your printed part. So now we start with some differences between the two toolkits, okay? The first one is the pliers, okay? I told this name wrongly on the first video, so I call this tweezers, but it's actually very similar to tweezer, but...
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It's not because of that. It's because I say that name wrongly, okay? So we have these two pliers. This is the model that came with K1, and this is the model that came with K1 Max. So I like this a little bit more. This is a simpler version, and even having a better touch to hold it, I prefer this one. It looks like a better tool to use for a longer time. And then we have the spatula. So this is the version that came with K1 Max. It's a metal spatula. I don't like it because you can use this to remove the parts from the bed, of course, because you can damage your bed very badly, by the way.
Perfect.
And this is the version that came with the K1. It's a plastic, very resistant, and I like it because I can use this just in case when we have a special material that have a super adherence to the bed, and this is more useful because you can use this in your PEI plate without damaging this, okay? So, but this is very good when you have to remove support, and I'm using both, and you can find some utilities for this. Okay, this is the tool set. Beyond that, the K1 Max came with an extra hot end, the new hot end, the ceramic hot end. So I found that very, very useful and very helpful because the hot end, it's a kind of part that suffer with the material fatigue. It tends to degrade as much as you use. So I found that very useful, and I like it when I saw that inside the K1 Max kit. So the K1 doesn't have that. So just an observation. So the latest thing about the package items is this, the filament spool that came with both printers. So this is the filament spool you will receive with your K1 Max. It's a 1 kilogram of hyper PLA from Creality, and it's very useful, especially because you have 1 kilogram of material and you can use not only to run some tests, but you can use to start printing real parts. And this is what comes with the K1. It's like a toy spool. Do you see that? Look,
So cute.
I have no courage to remove the plastic yet, to open the plastic, because it's so cute. I want to put this on the wall to remember how cute is the K1. So this is the big difference. I don't even know how much filament. Okay, 200 grams. That's it. 200 grams and 1 kilogram. I know this probably make no difference for the most people, but it's important to say. Let's talk about the most important things about these two printers, starting with the printing area, okay? So K1 has 220 per 220 per 250 millimeters of printing area. On the other side, we have K1 Max with 300 by 300 by 300 millimeters. So these two sizes can make no difference if you are designing your own parts, like me. I have been using my old printer for 9 years, and my old printer has the same size of K1, but in the last few months, using the K1 Max, I got a little bit accustomed with the size of the bed, and when I received the K1 and I look inside the printer, I got scared. Like, what? This is so small. I can't print anything there. But it's not the case, because when I took the plate from K1 and I put on my old printer, I saw that it's exactly the same size. So I just got accustomed with the K1 Max size, and it's a good size. Okay, it's a good size. And one important thing about the different sizes is about the power consumption. Okay, I will talk about this in just a second. When you look to those two printers side by side, you can see small differences, especially on the design, the appearance of those two printers. The first thing that called my attention was related to the cover or the lid, or how do you call that part that you put over your printer to close the printer? So comment here, help me to understand. I will call that the top cover. Okay, so on the K1 Max you have a tempered glass, what gives the printer a well finished and very elegant appearance with tempered glass. And in the K1 we have a kind of acrylic bowl, and they made in that way because they need more space on the top of the printer. So as you can see on this video, you will see that the extruder head and the cable chain, it's a little bit higher than the main structure of the printer. So they had to put that kind of top cover made by acrylic because it has the format of an inverted bowl over the printer to allow the printer to be closed and at the same time have space to elevate all the components and give this printer a little bit more space to print. As I told at the beginning of this video, this print has 220 by 220 by 250 millimeters. So this small difference, it's because they push a little bit the parts to the top of the printer, and then they use this acrylic top cover to accommodate all those components. This is not a problem, even being a little bit ugly, and I will talk a little bit more about this in a couple of minutes. Okay, so power supply. So when I bought the K1 Max, I knew it that this printer has 1000 watts power supply. Then when I bought the K1, I saw that this printer has a 350 watts. And I thought, okay, this is not a half size. It's basically a 30% smaller, but it has 1/3 of power supply power to supply power to the printer. The K1 Max has a 1000 watts power supply with automatic voltage switch, okay? And the K1 has a manual switch. It should make a difference related to the power supply or something like that. No, actually not. And I'm surprised when I ran a power consumption test to analyze how much power you would spend with K1 Max and how much power you would spend using K1 printing exactly the same part. And I'm talking about these two cubes, okay? So this I print on Max and this one I printed on K1. They are absolutely the same part with the same size, using the same configuration on slicer and printing on the same speed. That was actually amazing to see K1 and K1 Max printing this cube with exactly the same time and second. So this is amazing because it actually proves that the electronic parts and the project itself, it has the same configurations and the same capabilities of printing and speed and quality, kind of quality. I will talk about this in a couple minutes, especially comparing this to printed parts, okay? So at the end of the power consumption test, I realized that even having a 1/3 power size, the K1 and the K1 Max has just a small difference considering power consumption. Like 42 minutes of printing time on K1 consume 0.103 kilowatt hour. And the K1 Max, guess what? 0.113 kilowatts hour. So you have only 10% of power consumption difference between K1 and K1 Max, printing exactly the same part.
How? How? How?
I don't know.
I'm reinforcing that because you have to warm up your bed, and the bed on K1 Max is bigger, and you have to pay the cost of traveling your extruder head on a bigger distance, especially when you're calibrating the extrusion and everything else. So you have a bigger cost, especially considering the heated bed, because the heated bed, it's way bigger. So I consider the K1 Max way more efficient than the K1 when we talk about the power consumption. So time to give you my opinion. Okay, the project. I know I will provoke the hate of a lot of Creality lovers when I say that, okay? So keep calm and listen, okay? So when you look the projects, when you look the printers side by side, you can see clearly that the K1 Max, it's the original project. You can see that the components were well done and well designed to fit the project, the place where each one of those components are inside the printer. Then when you look at the K1, my sensation, my impressions were that they made the K1 Max project, and then when the K1 Max project was basically built but not done, they took that project, give to another engineer and say, okay, look, this is what we are finishing. So redesign this and compress this to make a smaller printer so we can sell for a lower price. And then someone said, oh, okay, I can do this. But look, I can do this, but the end filament sensor can go outside. I can do this, but the extrusion car will be too high, so I have to remove the tempered glass to put an acrylic cover, and I have to keep the cable chain outside of the main infrastructure. I will have to remove the Lidar sensor, and I think I can adopt the AI camera, but I'm not sure. So let's try. So this is my sensation, because I will tell you what. First, a lot of components outside of the main structure. Point that it's not even a point to discuss. You can see that. Second, having the end filament sensor outside of the printer, especially on the back side, it's not a good idea. And when you buy the upgrade kit with the AI camera and you start recording your time lapse, you can see this awesome picture. Can you see that? Okay, so you can see this black blurred part on the right side of the image, right? So this is the right fan on the front of the camera, and you can't adjust that. You can't adjust the camera position to skip that horrible black blurred part on the front of your camera. So this is basically the proof that this project was not designed to work like that. So a lot of people came to me here on my channel on YouTube, the other channel on Instagram asking me, Wesley, where I can find an upgrade kit to install the Lidar sensor on the K1 printer. And I went after that a lot, trying to find where I can find a Lidar kit to K1, and I couldn't find. Actually, I couldn't find even a replacement part of Lidar sensor to the K1 Max. But the point is, inside the K1, you have absolutely no place to put that extra part, that extension of the heated bed, where you have that white sticker. That white sticker, it's used to calibrate the Lidar sensor before you start printing. Even before that, when you start printing with your calibration checkbox enabled, then the printer will print a kind of zigzag on the right side of your heated bed, so the Lidar will read that to calibrate the advanced filament flux. When you print that on the K1 Max, you can have some problems, like when you are printing a very, very big part, probably your printed part will need that space that was used by the zigzag. And then your part will have the first layer with the marks of the zigzag. So on the K1, with a considerable smaller bed, doing that zigzag could consume about 20% of your printed area. So that could be a bigger problem, even not considering that you need more space on the side of your bed to put the white sticker to calibrate the Lidar sensor. And I have to say that tomorrow, Creality can release an upgrade kit with the Lidar sensor for K1, and then you can swear me a lot. You can swear me, be my guest to swear me here on the comments. But where I can see inside this 3D printer right now is that there is no place to put screws or any other kind of support to have that white sticker on the side of the bed to calibrate the Lidar sensor. And the heated bed, it's too small to have the zigzag and the calibration before start printing. So I don't believe Creality will release this upgrade kit for K1, but I don't consider that a big problem. Okay, listen why. The most important AI functions are on the camera. So detecting anomalies, detecting the losing pass from the step motors or the stuck filament, everything, basically the most important functions of the artificial intelligence are associated with the AI camera. The Lidar is basically responsible for calibrate the filament flux and to detect anomalies on the first layer. So if you calibrate properly your printer and you make sure that you are using the good filaments and these filaments are fine-tuned following the instructions of this video here, you will have no problem with your first layer. So I don't think that the Lidar sensor missing on K1 is a big problem. But just in case you think that these two main functions of Lidar sensor are the most important for you, you already know the answer about which one you should buy, okay? Quality, okay, quality. Let's see if I can give some focus here. Okay, so you can see below the boxes which one was printed with Max and which one with the K1. So, and you can see this small ringing effect right here, and you can't see this on the Max. The reason you were seeing this, it's because I didn't calibrate the belt tension on K1 when I ran this test. After calibrating the belt tension, I saw something very important. As the belt length are smaller on the K1, you have a smaller influence of the belt flexibility, the material flexibility of this belt on the K1. So you can reduce the belt tension to basically fully eliminate the ringing effect without having the problem of having the belt of your printer too loose and then your step motors skip the tooth, okay? On the K1 Max, it's a little bit more delicate because if you get your belts too loose, you have a higher risk when you're printing on very, very high speeds, like 250 or 300 millimeters per second, because the belt itself, it's made by a flexible material that can extend and contract depending on the internal temperature of the 3D printer chamber. So on the K1 Max, you must be more careful about how much you lose the belt tension, so to do not have the problem of having the belt skipping and then losing your prints right in the middle. Hey, there's just one more thing about these two printers, okay? On K1 Max, you have a carbon filter at the back side of the printer, so it helps you filter the toxic gases that ABS, for example, release on your environment. And the K1 doesn't have that filter, but here's a spoiler. The K1C that Creality will release on February 2024, it has the carbon filter. So you can buy the carbon filter from K1C and use in your K1 because it is fully compatible. Okay, but just remember, none of those printers are hermetically sealed. So I do not recommend you to use those printers on a fully enclosed room, especially if you work all day long in this room to print ABS, because the printer can allow toxic gases to get out of the printer through a lot of bridges on the infrastructure of this printer, okay? So be careful, keep your window open to have airflow where you are printing ABS with K1 and K1 Max. The middle. So the big question, which one to buy? Watching all this characteristic, all this comparison, what is your opinion? Which one right now, if you have to buy right now, which one would you buy? So comment here, help me to understand what is your need, because everyone will have a different opinion about these two printers. Like, oh, I need the Lidar sensor, so I prefer K1 Max. So I need a lower power consumption. So what characteristic of these two printers will make you happier with it, okay? So if you have to decide right now, tell me on the comments, which one would you buy? I will tell you that I would buy the K1 Max again, because I love the printing area size. I love the space when you have to make any kind of maintenance inside, like changing the nozzle or changing the filament or changing everything. So I prefer the K1 Max. Having the two printers here, I feel the K1 Max better for me. And especially considering the difference of power consumption between the two printers, I love to know the K1 Max uses about 10% more power, only 10% actually. So I prefer the K1 Max, but I want to know your opinion. So stay tuned on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe and to share this video because you help me a lot. And I will bring you the project, the MFS project for K1 very, very soon. I'm prototyping this and I will test a lot to make sure the project is easy to build and easy to use and it's useful for your daily use, okay? Thank you very much for supporting our channel. I see you on the next video and let's keep inventing!